Breaking news.
Drama! Yes, drama when it comes to Manchester United.
It's all kicking off.
Man United won't break the bank for him. And if Man United won't break the bank for him, they've got other targets.
Decision time. D-Day. Decision day. Michael Carrick has emerged as the front runner, the person in pole position in this Grand Prix for the Man United caretaker job. It's not been ruled out that Darren Fletcher could be joining him. And it seems like it's not going to be a return for Ollie. We're not going to be singing Ollie at the wheel in the stands, home and away. It's going to be Carrick at the wheel. Carrick at the helm. That's what it looks like it's going to be. I'm going to be honest with you, Man United fans and neutrals. Don't know, don't care. Andy Tate, don't care. Don't care anymore. Yeah? That's what it is. And for the people in the mentions, in the comments, you wanted Ruben gone. You wanted 4 at the back. Shut up. Okay? Obviously, there's more to Man United than just one person. We know that. Doesn't mean Ruben should still be our manager. And we need to stop that. That's been annoying me as well. But on the other side, yeah, this is why we are finished. Because it doesn't matter if it's 4 at the back. Doesn't matter if it's free Cobby or lock up Cobby. Doesn't matter if it's Bruno deeper, Bruno 10. Doesn't matter if it's wingbacks or fullbacks. And quite clearly, to what some of you lot are saying is, it doesn't matter whether it's Interim, Interim, or no one. We're just cooked. Let me know in the comments what you lot are saying. Michael Carrick looks like he's on his way in. What does it even mean? What does it even portray for us? Welcome back to United View. Sorry to start on this somber note because there should be a bit towards Carrick when it's announced that it's a big moment for him and all of this stuff. We'll get there, but emotionally, I ain't going to lie to you. On a personal, I'm not there. I'm not there. Owen, good morning, my friend. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, folks. Hope everyone's doing good. Monday, the 12th of Jan. Flex, something, segue, Optimum. I've got no energy for Manchester United. Manchester United have drained me of all life force, but maybe Optimum can get it back. Roll VT.
Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Oxford Natural and their all-new natural supplement, Optimum Day and Night. Thousands across the UK, USA and beyond are smashing their health goals with Oxford Natural. Optimum Day gives you steady energy, curbs your cravings and keeps your metabolism firing all day. Optimum Night helps you relax, get restorative sleep, recover and keep burning fat while you rest. It's not a magic pill, but it will help you reach your health goals. Check out some of the incredible results. 2 of our own. OWEN lost over 100 pounds in 10 months. And KG dropped 30 pounds in 4 months. In 8 months, football legend Michael Owen lost 35 pounds. And Robbie from AFTV, Don Robbie, lost over 80 pounds. And in 6 months, Anita, an award-winning immigration lawyer, lost 44 pounds. And Linda, a law firm executive, lost over 50 pounds. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural, let's get to work.
Yes, if the Manchester United players, the executives, the owners can't get to work, well, we can by getting Oxford Natural by Gowan Life. Yes, you can scan that QR code right there. You can subscribe. You can save up to 70% off your first order. You can get your Optimum Day, which is good for your weight loss goals. You can get your Optimum Night, which is good for your restorative sleep, because there have been many a sleepless nights recently.
You're going to need it.
United. But, yeah, exactly.
You're going to need it. It's actually a good thing.
Oh, God, get them any which way you please. You can get them individually or combined. As always, all the information is in the video description below. Now is the time to start. You know, it's beginning of the year. First week was pretty crazy, wasn't it, with Ruben Amorim stuff going on. I think this week's going to be much the same. But one thing you can control is your fitness journey. So get optimized today. Oh, flex. oh, Manchester United, right? Well, let's start with the news. Then we can get into a bit of therapy. Then we can get into a bit of how we all feeling. Just just vent frustrations, right? Just vent frustrations because last night was rough. I had to take an internet break last night. I'm not gonna lie, because it was rough. But the news coming out this morning, I had Flex back in. There you go with the what you call it and the thingy. That Michael Carrick looks to be in pole position, according to Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic and many others, saying Michael Carrick is in pole position for the job as Manchester United interim head coach. Carrick is the leading candidate after the club held face-to-face talks with him and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think the Carrick talks were on Thursday last week. The Solskjaer ones were on Saturday. Darren Fletcher isn't expected to be in the position he was currently in for the last 2 games, but he could stay on as a first-team coach, maybe an assistant coach to Carrick for the rest of the season. The BBC reporting the same thing, saying that Michael Carrick has emerged as the favourite to be appointed as the Manchester United caretaker head coach, according to sources closer to the process. Club chiefs are hoping to have an appointment in place when the players return to training on Wednesday. There is a bit of a expectation that maybe there even could be an announcement today regarding all of this. Today could indeed be decision day. Sky saying the same thing as well, saying United is speeding up the search for this new interim head coach. Carrick and Solskjaer are the main candidates, but it does look like indeed it is going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. Fabrizio Romano saying the same thing, that Carrick had positive contacts with Ineos and Manchester United management to become the new interim manager. United are going to be announcing the coach this week. The Times saying the same. You get my points here. All of the different outlets are all saying the same thing. Mark Ogden there as well from ESPN. Michael Carrick has significant support. It very much felt like after the game yesterday, whether this was Manchester United themselves telling the journos, whether this was Michael Carrick's people, whether this may be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's people saying that that looks kind of like it's going to be Michael Carrick. Everyone, Flex, is saying the same thing here, which is Michael Carrick is expected to get the job. And an announcement could be as soon as possibly today, maybe tomorrow, something along those lines. But it looks like it's going to be Carrick. Thoughts? I mean, you were kind of leaning this way the other day, weren't you, saying maybe Carrick for something a bit different? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't really care. I'm sorry. Like it's a big moment. It will be a big moment for him. I respect him as a Man United legend. Listen, top player. I have nothing against him as a coach in terms of what he's been doing. You know, in his early career at Middlesbrough as a coach. But you know, as he saw speaking to fans yesterday, and what we all know to be true, it's beyond this. It's beyond this. Like so. These 17 games left or 16 games left, however many it is, I'm not expecting Michael Carrick to come in and do a madness and get us into top 4 or 5. I've given up on that, to be honest. And whether you think that's defeatist, whether you think, come on, that's not it. You know, still 17 games left, 16 games between Michael Carrick coming in and expecting miracles off of him, and the same players that we know are messing up, not showing what they need to be doing. It's a big problem. It's a big problem. And actually the fan views I did last night were a real good eye-opener, actually, especially the fan roundup, speaking to a lot of the guys down there. Big up to the guys, because you can kind of have some disagreements within it, but also there was a lot of agreement of actually we all sat there and looked at each other and stood there and went, this is why we ain't got a clue. This is how far the club has fallen. And yesterday was less about Dalot being criminal and this one player. And there was a lot of pressure on the players to like, wow, there's no Ruben to blame now. They've been exposed even further because the manager's gone, which always happens. Anytime someone gets sacked, then we remember about the players again and this, that, and the other. And then people who wanted the manager to stay are like, see, this is why you shouldn't have got rid of said manager. See, because we're still rubbish without them and this, that, and the other. And the cycle goes on. But just the soul, a lot of the people are talking about, the football club, like the actual football club. We're just finished. So, yes, Michael Carrick, I will be there. I will be there, supporting the team. I will be there in spirit and in person and in voice. I will be there because that's what we all do. We tune into all the games, don't we? If we really didn't care properly, we wouldn't watch any games and wouldn't know any scorelines. We're in love with our football club. It's innate. It's inside there. We're not going to stop that. But in terms of the emotion and like information and analysis and breakdown of like how we are here, we're left thinking that we've got nothing left. We've got nothing left, and Carrick ain't going to do nothing. So, yeah, I don't really care because it's an interim manager to the end of the season that I'm not expecting much of. So fair play to him. The players have shown us what they're about. They've shown us many times. Ineos, you've constructed this team, essentially now we've got a few wrong profiles now because you spent so many times. Yes, we've got some adaptable players, but now we've got probably stockpiling in too many positions. If you think about it, now you've got to play someone out of position for a little bit, because if you go 4-3-3, Ahmad and Nabumo, you think have to play. So one's got to play on the left where they just don't really like playing. Cunha from the left, we've seen it last couple of games. He's not really enjoying it, spending more time in the 10. Bruno now wants to be in the 10. Mason Mount on the right, we've seen that as a winger. Ain't working. He wants to be in the 10. Fucking mess. So he sold all the wingers. You know what I mean? Now you got all 10s. Now you got no wingers. Now that manager's got and then again it reflects to Jason Wilcox and Ineos. And the screw is turning on them guys. The screw is turning.
Yes, indeed it is. Amanor has been a member for 36 months, says Glinios out, best in class equals a lie. It was right to sack Amorim, but where was your succession plan? Incompetence, Potato Head Barada, and Weetabix Wilcox out. D Witness says Diogo Dallo. That's it. That's the super chat. He was absolutely awful, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Big Z says have no manager. Put the onus on the players that sack several managers themselves. Get them to self-manage. See what happens. Shit show either way. Terrence says, did I ever tell you the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing, same effing thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. That's Man United. Show says, one reason they've chosen Carrick is it gives Ineos the permanent option. Classic laser tactic. In 2 years from elite structure to Carrick. Lazarus says, in a cup, results matter after performance. But why are people so angry over an interim? This loss still helps Carrick for the rest of the season. Bless you, Lazar, for trying to look to the positive side. Shahil has been a member for 42 months, says, why are we rehiring him after firing for poor coaching in the past? What has he proven in what time our legends are horrible at coaching's facts? Well, in fairness, Michael Carrick was not sacked by Manchester United. That must be pointed out. He, after Solskjaer was sacked, took the club for 2 games and then got asked by Ralph Rangnick to stay on as
I think he thinks this is going to be Ollie. I think Shahil hasn't read the news. Right. He thinks that's going to be Ollie. He must, because like you said, it's just rehiring. He wasn't here and he didn't. So it must be Ollie he's talking about.
Alexander says Flex being used as a punching bag because fans are angry, the team is still losing, and they need someone to blame. Easy to yell at a dude with a camera, then fix the club. Well, you know what I mean.
I'm not for sympathy. We're all in this together. I ain't gonna look for sympathy, mate. But people do stuff to me. You wanted him sacked, Flex. You wanted Amorim gone. It is pissing me off that because we always do it. We always do this revisionism thing. Always. Now we're pretending Amorim was doing a good job.
Do you know what, Flex? Yeah, it's
crazy.
I'm a little bit over it because yesterday was just insane for that. Yesterday was insane for the revisionism of like I saw a lot of people doing the screenshot of when Amorim beat Brighton 4-2. So that means he would have won yesterday because that's how football works, right? I did not realize that when you beat a club once, you've beaten them forever. It's never going to happen.
What about the screenshot where we beat Man City in the last minute where Ahmad fucking dinked it over the player and scored, and then we got battered 3-0? What about that?
No, we've beaten once before, so we beat them all over again. You know, just like how I did. If that was the case, when we beat Wolves in December, we would have beat them again at Old Trafford in December, but we didn't, right? But we didn't, and you're right. I saw quite a lot of that almost like jilted lover syndrome of, you know what I mean? I hope you're happy. You asked for this. You've got what you wanted. And it seems very in keeping of like someone screaming outside your house in the rain at 3 o'clock in the morning, doesn't it? You know, with lipstick smeared all over their face. And you sort of just go like, nobody wanted this. And actually, when it comes to like someone said in the super chat, it's misguided rage, really. That's the frustrating thing. This journalist, Colin Miller from The Athletic, posted this yesterday, right? And it literally, this is where the anger should be directed to, because it sums it up perfectly. Under Ineos, Manchester United have backed, then sacked Ten Hag, appointed, then sacked Dan Ashworth, appointed, then sacked Ruben Amorim, oversaw the club's worst results in over 50 seasons and now the shortest season in over 100 seasons. Caretaker to interim, they haven't yet been in place for 2 years. They've done all of that in under 2 years.
Frame it.
And-
frame that.
and
frame
and
that.
and then but then you want to start going in, well, you know, Ruben would have won this game, or actually the Fletcher stuff was better than Ruben, or this is better, actually Ollie was good, or Carrick's going to be this and go that. And you go, actually, guys, take a step back here. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, that's the real small part of it, isn't it? The real small part is you can get into your point scoring bag about, you said this about the coach, and I think I was right and I was wrong, and people taking victory laps yesterday because Manchester United lost. Hold that, we lost. Fucking bizarre, right? The reality is those people that were making those decisions yesterday were still in the stands. Nobody giving them a tough time or anything like that. Yeah, people are looking at Darren Fletcher. People are talking about the referee and all this kind of stuff. The reality is it is on Ineos and it's on the Glazers. What Ineos have been able to do in under 2 years is fail spectacularly. And while this has been going on, the Glazers have got considerably richer, right? So when it comes to, it's Carrick to the end of the season, or it was Ollie to the end of the season, or Ruben comes in, or that, it's just been one mistake after another, after another, after another. And actually, it's remarkable how consistently Ineos have still managed to get these things wrong. Like, look at the amount of mistakes they've got wrong. And Man United fans, I don't even think we're thinking or asking for perfection, because you don't need to do perfection when you've got the Glazers as your owners anyway. You just need to do a little bit better. And from a sporting perspective, they've made it worse. Some of those, look at those records. Worst results in over 50 seasons. That was with their hire. Shortest season in over 100 seasons with their hires. And Jason Wilcox then has the nerve to sit on these panels or do these interviews and go, well, I'm a coach deep down. Well, guess what, Jason Wilcox? Why didn't you get on the touchline yesterday instead of Darren Fletcher? Why don't you do the interviews after the game instead of Darren Fletcher? Why don't you do the press conferences? But when you do, it's only after we've won a game. And Omar Barada will do an interview telling about how financially we're on a good footing and the stadium coming our way and this, that, and the other. And it's all bullshit. It's the biggest bunch of bullshit ever. And what we've got this season, after what we thought was our worst season on record, right, last year in modern history, we're giving it another go. We're giving it another go to try and one up it, you know. And obviously I know, look, the league position at the moment is better than it was last season, but I think all of us would be lying if we said we don't feel like we're on the slide. And the mistake that we're falling into at this point, right, is we're getting involved in these sort of petty squabbles. And, you know, I hold myself accountable and guilty of this as well. You know, we're getting involved in the petty squabbles of like, should Solskjaer come back? Or, Carricky, or even the Cobby stuff like yesterday. You know, Cobby starts, we lose, and suddenly, so that's Cobby Mainoo's fault. You know what I mean? Ruben was right, all that, or the Ruben Amorim stuff. And it's just, it's wasted energy, isn't it? It's wasted energy, because in the grand scheme of things, all it does is distract from the real issue, which is the ownership. The more we fight about this really pointless stuff, you know, is the more they get away with it. They should be held accountable.
Yeah, because now what needs to happen after the assessment of the 2 years, when like Colin Miller's put there, you know, perfectly summed it up perfectly in a paragraph. Yeah. Like now we're vying for, and kind of what needs to happen is the removal of this footballing department, the sort of knocking down of it, the demolishment of this football department to rebuild it properly, which obviously the person in charge is not going to do. You know what I mean? And actually, it would actually be in line. Where's your ruthlessness now? So all of these decisions you fucked up and you rule with the iron fist, you just get rid of people after you realize you've made a mistake. So why is Jason Wilcox still there then? Why? Why is he still there? Why is Omar Barada still making decisions? You know what I mean? Christian Vivell, okay, that's a more of a player recruitment thing. You could class that as he's actually starting to do all right. You know, there's different conversations there. But the people who make the biggest of the big decisions, if you're Sir Jim and you rule with this big ego, this big, I'm in control, Manchester United, I'm fucking doing this, best in class, Manchester United, bollocks, then you go, Jason, what the fuck is this? Bye. See you later. See you later. Thought it was going to work. I thought he was the best in class. You're not. You've showed me. That's what he should be doing. I listen to fan channels like this. That's why they sacked him.
No, they don't.
You idiot. You're an idiot.
No, they don't. No, they
You're an idiot, Nigel. You're an idiot. That's just either you're rage baiting because you're in the mood to do that, or you're an idiot. I'm going to say it's the first one. Mate, I don't think you're an idiot. I think you're doing it on purpose because, you know, everything stinks of. If you look at Ineos and you think that actually they're doing all right, but they're just giving into a bit of pressure, then you're an idiot. You're naive and you're silly. It's that true. Like you can't look at what they've done. You can't read what Colin has put there in front of our eyes. Forget the emotion, like Owen said. Forget the left and right, the this and the that. You can't read that paragraph and argue with it. You can't. So by talking about it's somebody else's fault that these guys are sacked and that because of fans or because it's Gary Neville's fault, it's fan channel's fault, it's other influencers' fault. It's everyone's fault, but the people who bought 28% of the club and have all the power, it's not their fault. You fucking idiots.
What it is again, it's a reality that they know that they won't be held accountable because of stuff like just that. Because what we'd rather do is argue and have petty squabbles amongst ourselves and have this, again, bizarre desire yesterday to, as opposed to, okay, how can we actually influence positively the club? How can we actually get together and force some kind of change, whether it be a protest or a boycott or even bigger? How can we do that? Instead, what a lot of people would rather do is victory laps. We lost, but I won yesterday. You know what I mean? Somehow, like, you know, Ruben was actually this big martyr, and you know things were actually going well under Ruben and what have you. And you go, what's the point? Like, what's the point? If I get, like, everyone's got their own different version of cope, and maybe that's what it is. But you know, coming out of those arguments, you don't feel any better, do you? You know what I mean? You don't feel any better because of it. And even I have spoken to people about protests and boycotts, and the discussion is that, well, if you are going to do that, it needs to be something bigger than in the past, because protests have been done in the past, and once again, the Glazers and Ineos, they feel that, you know, it hasn't touched them. It hasn't, you know what I mean? It hasn't touched them. So couple more super chats here, and then let's have a look at that fan roundup actually yesterday as well. That was quite good. Derek says, for once, can we just show some stomach for a rebuild, including going through the hard times? You think Amorim out didn't play its part in the firing? I think, Derek, this is the thing. This is what I go back to. There has been this weird narrative over the last 24 hours, or certainly maybe since he got sacked, that Ruben Amorim was actually really, really hard done by, and you know he was building something and it was going really great. And I just don't believe that to be accurate. I'm not going to lie. I know some people will, and that's fair. That's fine. Everyone's got their own opinions and beliefs. But I just, and from what I can see, and unless I'm mistaken on this, but basically it's the case of, look, well, we are 7th in the league, and that's better than last season. So he was building something. But at the same time, that same group of people says, well, you can't actually compare it to last season because last season was a write-off. But his point of progress is being compared to last season, which is like, but I thought last season didn't count. I'm not sure. And now, and this was the strange thing in the last 2 games, Flex. When Ruben Amorim wasn't picking up wins this season, the excuse for that was underlying metrics, XG, shots taken, goals scored, those underlying metrics. For some reason, goals in the last 2 games, really. Goals not scored. But in the last 2 games, to point score, suddenly it's about results now. Well, Darren Fletcher didn't win the last 2 games, so what does that say? Ruben Amorim was right, but exactly. It wasn't about results under Ruben Amorim. It was about underlying metrics. Forget those results. Forget the draw against Wolves. Forget the draw against Bournemouth. Forget the loss against Everton. Forget the draw against West Ham, because underlying metrics. And then suddenly, for whatever reason, in the last 7 days, suddenly results are important again, and they should have been important the whole fucking time. Right? Because that's what it is about. It's about results. Weekend Getaway says, now it's on the board. I thought it's all Amorim's fault. It was the system. If he was the coach yesterday, you and I know he was going to be blamed, not the board. This is kind of the stuff you were talking about as well, Flex, isn't it? Of, you just realized I've known the whole time, and it's go, well, okay, fine. You know, all I can come to at that point now with it, of like, you just realize this now. Sure. I just realized it now. You're
Yeah,
smarter than
but
me.
also the problem with this type of comment
problem.
is that what these people are trying to suggest is the fact that we think every single problem at the club is down to Amrim. If you just take him out, we'll be a good team. So if you say Amrim out, that's what these people assume you meant. They meant make sure that you sack him by any means without a succession plan, because we'll be better. We've got the squad to be better just with no manager. That's what that people are acting like. People who wanted Amrim out proposed sack him with no plan. That's what we should do is, because if you would have offered me that, I would have said no. Do you know what I mean? Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
For
sack
the
him
record,
for being go on.
I didn't. For the record, I said like a week before he got sacked that I wasn't in favor of him being sacked till the end of the season. For this kind of reason, because I didn't see what their plan would be. If it was me, it would have been at the end of last season, or they'd have gone fuck this after the Grimsby game. This ain't working, right? They would have been them, because for this very issue that who you're going to bring in, what you're going to do, you're going to get an interim, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And I said at the time that if they sacked him now, that would suggest to me that they didn't have a plan. And guess what? They don't. They don't have a plan. They don't.
It's just
they've
it's
just wasted
just
2 games.
People just people are just assuming that if you don't see that the manager was the right guy, okay, that means that you think that him leaving and you go to a back 4 means everything will be fixed in 2 games with a man who has never managed before. That's basically what you're saying was being proposed, which just isn't. It just isn't. And if you think that Ruben, what didn't contribute to Ruben's time here being bad was finishing 15th, losing to Spurs, and having not being consistent enough this season. If you don't think that had anything to do with it, as well as the falling out was the thing that the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say. But let's be real, the record of Ruben Amorim is there to see. It's terrible.
Yeah. A couple more super chats here. Tabislow says, it's not on Glinios, Owen. It's on the local fan base to accept this. What have each and every one of you done the last 15 years to get rid of them? I don't think it's the time to be going like, basically if you're from Manchester or you go to every single game, that's on you or whatever. Because then we get into the territory of, that it's kind of like the reverse of what the sort of stick that global fans get, right? If you're a global, if you can't go to games, then you're less of a fan. Well, if you do go to games, you should be doing more. I don't know if it necessarily is totally like that. You know what I mean? Yes, I suppose people that go to the game have the ability to not go, if that's the point that you're trying to make. But I don't know. I think the pressure's on everyone to do something. I don't think there's one group of people that should be doing more than the other, because that's when it kind of falls apart. I think everyone's got.
Well, you can be as vocal, but at the end of the day, right? You see it when you speak to ex-owners of football clubs or some owners of football clubs who are louder than others and stuff. Like the fans don't have that power. They don't. These millionaires look at it and see the fans as just noise. You know what I mean? If the Glazers being here this long doesn't show you that the fan doesn't have the power to remove the ownership single-handedly, and the only thing that will make them do it is them getting money that they deem is what they want to do for the club or not wanting to do it anymore, then nothing will. The Glazers have been here 20 years, 25 years. How long have they been here?
Yeah, it's about 21 years. I think
21.
I want to say 21 years.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. So they've been here that long, and it's been green and gold till the club has sold for probably 80% of that time, maybe 90 now.
Yeah,
and they've never left.
Because that's the falsehood, isn't it? That's the falsehood is that
left.
One of the stupid narratives is that Man United fans never protested until results started going
bollocks,
which is ridiculous because when the Glazers takeover was confirmed, there were major protests.
Yeah,
so that's just not factually accurate.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not.
Varunk says, are they better than Richard Arnold and Woodward? What do you think would be the ideal result after a protest? Who else do you get? Do you know what is actually remarkable? Is that they are making people like Richard Arnold, Ed Woodward, John Murtough actually look competent from a on-field perspective, which is insane.
Well, they got a slightly better track record of managers than them.
I didn't think that was possible. I did not think that was possible. Financially, all right, cool, they're better than Richard Arnold and Ed Woodward because they're having to put out their fires that they put, the Glazers, but, Ed Woodward and Richard Arnold, etc., facilitated. But from a sporting perspective, their results aren't even comparable, are they, really? And that's not, well, would you want Richard Arnold and Ed Woodward back? Absolutely not. I mean, Ed Woodward's, again, a big part of the reason the Glazers are in charge in the first place. He facilitated the takeover from a banking perspective. But yeah, from a footballing perspective, it's incompetent. They're just both completely incompetent, aren't they? Let's be honest. It's not even a comparison. Lazar says, one Fletcher loss proves Amorim's greatness, but multiple losses and draws under Amorim gets ignored. His success is built on the failure of others. But yeah, exactly. The amount of sort of twerking for the manager with the worst, record post World War II was kind of remarkable, to be honest. Paula says, Amorim was building something. We struggled in attack. He got players and fixed it. More time was needed to do the same thing in midfield and defense, in my opinion. Let's get up this fan roundup from yesterday, Flex. I've got to reconnect my thing because my sound went. There you go. Because it did get rather heated yesterday. Outside
in a good
Old
way.
Trafford.
In a good way.
In a good way. In a good way, certainly.
Yeah. It just highlighted a lot of the things that, and it was a good chat. It was a good chat. Go on, I know you got it up there. There was certain bits that I was
like with everything with Manchester United, yeah, it's just everything's divisive, isn't it? You know what I mean? Everything's and look, there's not everyone's going to share the same opinion on all of this kind of stuff, right? We've seen it in the chat this morning. Some people do think Amorim was hard done by others. Just think that it's not the same, etc. You tell me where you would like to go, Flex.
It's when the guy. It's when the guy in. Keep going forward. When the guy in the beige jacket comes in.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, he was good as well. Everyone was good. Everyone highlighted the problems.
Which it probably should have been from the start. But there's more pressure on them now than ever to sort of, the process that's coming up in 1958 is one of a vote of no confidence for Sir Jim Ratcliffe because they've come in and every single big decision they've had to make has been wrong and people are calling it out.
I think I don't know about you, but I think most United fans, including myself, would have had no confidence in the boardroom at this club at the beginning of the season. We didn't have to wait till January to sack our manager to do that. Like, we are moving backwards. We are shooting ourselves in the foot by sacking our manager mid-season, and we're hoping that we're going to be stronger once it heals. That's what we're doing, right? And it is absolutely nonsensical. And for all the Amorim outers, by the way, I just want to say congratulations. I hope you're happy. And that's it.
That now, but
right. Pause that.
Don't we do this?
That's what I mean. Then you lose me when you do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and listen, I can't remember his name. He's going to kill me. I'm going to get these guys back on the channel as well. They're doing great stuff. I'm going to get the boys back on the channel as well. And that's the thing that I was talking about. Obviously, you can see that spark something in me because I was with him. I'm nodding. I'm saying, yeah. But then where we went with it, obviously, in that moment, he's saying, right. And to you, all the Amorim outers, essentially, you get what you wish for. And that's where I think we're crossing. It's like it's a shout out. I keep saying it because I'm a Stranger Things guy now. It's not a spoiler. It's just a thing. It's where you're crossing the upside down with the real life in the best. Like you two worlds colliding. Like you can't. I just think as soon as we start going there and saying, and if you and to Amorim outers, here's your thing. But listen, this is opinion. I was a right to challenge that. Let's roll VT.
Yeah.
So don't we do this as fans, whereby all of a sudden we might start saying, "Oh, remember with Ollie though, we go back to that," or would Jose won us this, and then we start because we're so scarred, we actually start doing this where we act like Amorim was doing a good job. He had the worst record we'd ever seen, but we passed the ball better. Oh, come on, man.
I'm not even
Pause.
Come on.
Pause.
Wait a minute.
That's actually a pause. You know the pause that we use for pause? That's that. But we passed the ball better. Pause. Pause.
He can't pass the ball to anyone.
So you are laughing at me saying, "Oh, Flex under pressure." I was listening to. We passed the ball better. This is context, guys. This is what's going on out here. This is what's going on in the field. This is at the game. Big up to my guy as well, because actually he started off really well when he said loads of things. He was like, "These players, like if you actually go to the start of him talking, the same guy said about passing the ball better. He made some really good points, and this is what I'm saying. I'm with all these guys. Everyone up their state, it's fine, but then we just do things. So he's basically convinced himself that now it was better before under Amorim because we passed the ball better.
Yeah, under Amorim, Ugarte could pass it.
Yeah.
No, he couldn't. He can't.
And then I carried on and I said some stuff and he went, oh, yeah, true, actually. Yeah. It's just, and I don't even blame him. It's just our emotions of we're so finished. Go on.
Come on,
I think
we can't. I think this is this is actually describing how cooked we are.
I'm not gonna-
Like, and I'm involved. I'm involved.
I
We've
agree.
just said like Amorim's not here now. You wish for it. Like he was dead, bro.
No,
Awful.
no, I hear that.
Awful.
I hear that, but
He finished 15th and lost to Spurs in the final. You was there.
I was there.
He should have got sacked for that.
All right, cool, let me respond, right? Bro, when Amorim left, yeah, whether we like it or not, we talk narratives, whatever, forget about them stats narratives. Points on the board, which is the only stat that actually counts, yeah? We were 6th in the table, yeah?
Yeah, but one minute with the points on the board thing, it didn't matter until it mattered. You know what I mean? Because I remember like last season or even earlier this season, right? Again, underlying metrics kept getting brought up, but now suddenly it's points on the board. Well, points on the board didn't matter last season or when we were losing games, did they? You know what I mean? I always go back to, because when we talk about results, right? Points on the board, Ruben Amorim could have been sacked ages ago then. You know what I mean?
We hadn't played FA Cup, we're still in it, but now we're 7th and we're out of the FA Cup. We have solved nothing by getting rid of him.
We haven't even got a permanent appointment since.
In fairness as well, it's been like 2 games. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. We're
You know
acting
what I
like
mean?
we've made it. What we're acting like in this stupid interim bit where Fletcher's never managed before is the fact that Fletcher, who's never managed before and only managed the under 18s, has not got a couple of wins since Amorim's not been here. So it was the wrong decision to sack Amorim. People are acting like we've made a permanent appointment. We're a year in and we're still the same. Which even doesn't mean you shouldn't have got rid of that guy. It's like the De Gea thing in Onana. When you go, oh, I don't know about De Gea, his kicking was rubbish. Remember that last season, it was terrible. But you replaced him with Onana. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It was. He may as well say then it's wrong to sack Eric Ten Hag.
Well, because also as well, I think the what he was. Let me rerun what he was saying.
We have solved nothing, but now we're 7th and we're out of the FA Cup. We have solved nothing by getting rid of him.
So basically, the point he's making there is, you know, we sacked Ruben Amorim and we were 7th at the time. 2 games later, we're 7th and we're out of the FA Cup, so we've solved nothing. But I mean, frankly, still Ruben Amorim's team. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what necessarily was going to change in that. And at the same time, we were still winning only 1 game a month. And on top of that, as well, we forget like one of the last games he had, we drew with like bottom of the league. We weren't winning. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not really sure. I mean, like you said, Flex, if we get to the end of the season, and say we finish like 14th again, then you would go, look, fucking, you sacked him, and look what happened afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I'm not sure you can make that argument after 2 games. I'm not sure that's when you
like
said, you haven't
also
got the replacement.
I'm bro. Sorry if you're watching, but I forgot your name. So I'm going to get you guys back on. I don't want you guys to think, not you guys who are in the video, but even you guys watching. This is not a beef. This is not a fuck these are bros. Like they're coming back on. Like they're coming back on the channel. They've been on the channel a couple of times as well. They're coming back on, and it was a really good conversation. But what doesn't help him is that he also started his very point. So when you're talking about what you were saying there, Owen, I get that. And he started his very thing addressing the Amorim outers to say, you're trying to make the point that, like, this is on you. You wish for better. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have been out the FA Cup under Amorim. We wouldn't have drawn to Burnley under Amorim. But to suggest that, there's no evidence to suggest that. We went out to Grimsby at the first hurdle. And in the league, we've drawn loads of games. And like you said, we drew at home to Wolves, the worst team we've ever seen. So to go away to Burnley and draw 2-2, whether Amorim was there or not, is it that hard to think that could have been the same result? No, Amorim's last game was 1-1 against Leeds. So what I'm saying is what evidence do we have this season where we've literally had one of the most embarrassing exits in the cup in recent times? What is there to say we definitely won't go out against Brighton at home with him there? We won't do it. And that's the point. But he's trying to make that point like it's not better by doing it. Yeah. And that's, for me, where I'm like, I didn't see that.
This is also worth pointing out, which, again, is why the conversation should be about Ineos. Ineos didn't sack Ruben Amorim because they thought it was going to get better without him. I said that to the guys. Ruben Amorim was sacked because he fell out with Jason Wilcox, because Jason Wilcox is, frankly, again, shouldn't be in his position as director of football because he thinks he's the coach. You know, so again, that's why it should be about Ineos, because for all of this chatter about Ruben would have won this or he wouldn't have won this, actually, whether he would have won it or wouldn't have won it is completely irrelevant. Ineos don't care. Ineos just wants someone that they can, morph and control. Are we carry on watching this, or do you want to move back?
Yeah, there's a little bit more. Yeah, carry on.
We haven't even got a permanent appointment since. Listen, because now it's going to turn into, am I giving Ineos credit to getting because I don't believe they're going to get the right guy. But we can't judge what you're trying to. What I think you're saying is basically saying we're no better off for sacking him because we've drawn against Burnley, we've gone out to thing. But then if we would have got 2, not jammy wins, but 2 like opportunistic wins because there was a bounce and a good feel, you still can't judge that by saying that's because of Amorim, that's because of not Amorim. It's just because they got the win or they didn't.
Let me make it very clear. My point is that Amorim is the best manager ever and we should have kept him whatever. It might have been a mistake to have Amorim in the dugout. Yeah. But you made your bed, now laying it until the end of the season because that's what we're doing now anyway. We're going to have to wait until the end of the season. So you might as well have just, like I said, you made the mistake of bringing him in. Lay in your bed.
But that shows the incompetency because they didn't sack him because of results, bro. They sacked him because they fell out of him.
But also as well with that, just with what you're saying there, though, Flex, we said you've made your bed, lay in it. Does he mean Ineos or does he mean the fans? Like that?
No, I think he means the fans, as in like there's no point. He's making a lot. See, what he's saying is that it's some things I agree with. I just didn't. Maybe it's because I was at Amorim Matter, and maybe I got not personal. Maybe I took it to heart, but I agree with the bit of like, this is why I'm saying I don't care. See, I agree with that bit. We've made our bet, so we have to just get an interim to the end of the season now because these pricks upstairs, like he said at the start, he goes, did you even have faith in them at the start of the season that they're going to... He's right. He makes a lot of right points. My only bit was the bit that comes in. It enters the chat. When you discuss Ruben, it turns into, you wanted this. So now it's worse.
It's
only that bit I'm pushing back on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I push back on that a little bit as well. When it goes to,
I agree with.
A lot of the stuff that he says that I agree with. I just think it's a bit of a dangerous slope of basically if you wanted Amorim out, you basically can't talk. You just have to blindly accept it. And
because this is bad because you wanted Amorim out. That's why we've just lost to Brighton and drawn to Burnley. Because you wanted the manager out, would have been, it would have been better if he was still here. We would have won those games.
And again, it's mixing up the point. I can speak for myself personally. I wanted Ruben Amorim to go. I'm on record of saying that, but I'm also on record saying, actually, I didn't want him to go now. I wanted him to go at the end of the season because I didn't think there was any kind of plan with it. If it was me, it would have been after the Spurs game or after the Grimsby game.
And that's true as well, by the way.
That's what I thought it should have. That's what I thought it should have been. But I also don't think it's fair just basically like, well, you didn't like Ruben or didn't think it was going to work out, so we have to kind of sit on our hands and zip our mouths and accept
not say anything. But what Dan's saying there, there's a few typos there, but he's basically alleging to Ruben Amorim this isn't to back Ineos, by the way. It's just we have to talk about this if we're going to talk about the situation, we have to talk about all facets of it. Amorim did basically lose his shit and make them almost have to sack him as well. Like when you read the Athletic thing where they had to talk, again, then you go back to it and you go, don't blame him. Wilcox trying to meddle in. Who the hell are you? But Amorim did make it untenable. Like he did. He did. He came out, like we see when you come out and speak against the ownership, you're going to get sacked. So as well as your record that has been poor, like what we were saying, your record isn't strong enough to be talking like that. Even if it's true, you have to kind of do that behind the scenes and thrash it out and fight and stuff. When you bring it to the forefront, it's because you want to get sacked. You think, well, obviously it's broken down. Like Laurie said, he said, I'm calling my agents. I'll just go, which is your prerogative to do, by the way. The relationship's broken down. So what I'm saying is there's 2 parts to it. The incompetency of Ineos to even be in this situation and back a guy 3-4-3, then ask him to change. People like Wilcox, who are not qualified, never been at this level before, on record saying my actual problem is that I think I'm a manager, basically, and I'm meddling, is literally what he's done. Big problems. But Amorim's problem was stubbornness for far too long. Then he came out and started saying, I realized that to play this system that I want to play, I need a lot of money and I need time and I don't have it, so let me just change now. Then changing for Newcastle, then changing back against Wolves and not winning, by the way. These are decisions he made, guys. Stop forgetting the decisions that Amorim made. He made a decision to do that. Have we just forgot that? Have we just forgot?
Well, And also as well, I mean, LA says block transfers dictated tactics. Amram wasn't even the manager; he was just the dude holding the controller while Wilcox pressed the buttons. This, do you know what it is? Yeah, this is a great example of multiple things being true at once, and sometimes we have the inability to have sort of a nuanced thought about it, because those things that LA's talking about there is true. Amram did want more players, and towards the end, certainly Jason Wilcox telling him to play a certain way, and he wanted to do another way, and blah 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 blah. But that also doesn't mean that like Ruben is this martyr, that he was actually this sort of secret, genius, and didn't deserve to lose his job a long time ago, right? He still did deserve to lose his job a long time ago. I think again, it just speaks to a wider issue with Ineos, that as bad as it was going last season and at points this season, they still were not really focused on the results, but more focused on themselves and how bad it would look if they did sack Ruben Amorim based on results, because they knew that the criticism would be of them once again because they have failed. So what they were trying to do is make an unworkable situation work by trying to change someone they had hired for a specific vision. They were then trying to change the vision, not because of, they really necessarily believed in Ruben or they believed in him, but more so because they were just scared of the backlash. So that's what this is all about. It's not about whether Ruben was doing great or he was doing bad or whatever. It was actually Ineos this whole time have not even been focused on the results. They've been focused on themselves. That's what it's about. And now get Carrick in, shiny new toy, ex-player alert. You'll be happy. Give it Carrick to the end of the season. And then it's 6 months less of chatter about Ineos. So I think it's both things are true. Ruben Amorim was out of his depth and he wasn't good enough. But also at the same time, Ineos were still trying to make that scenario work because it was never about results. They are full of shit.
And this is what happens.
They care about best in class and results and what have you. They don't.
They've got a clue what best in class looks
by the last 2 games. Yeah, they don't know.
Got a clue what that looks like. They do from afar, like we do from afar. When you look at Man City, when you look at Liverpool, when you look at Arsenal, when you look at all the teams that are but when you look at Brighton, like I said yesterday, I saw an encapsulation of 2 establishments, from one that's run well from top to bottom, from the off the field to on the field. They all know what they're doing, to the point where a young manager in Fabian Herzler, who could still be playing football today if he wanted to, can put out a B team, a much changed squad, and that team plays exactly how the first team plays, with players who don't. It weren't until, because I was obviously busy before I got there. Remember, I didn't even know Casemiro was on the bench. I was just so busy before I got there. I didn't even see the Brighton team. And when I got in just at kickoff, and I was looking at the team, and I went, I can't see Dunk. Who's that in goal? That's Jason Steele. Who's that? Where's Matoma? He scored against Man City. Why is he not? So then I went on my phone and I thought, who's actually fully starting for them? Let's get a quick snapshot. And I saw it. I went, well, them 2 centre-backs don't start. Ayari's not starting. Obviously, Balaba's not there. He's AFCON on the way back. I get that, but he's not there. Verbruggen's not in goal. Dunk and Van Hecker aren't playing. And I'm going, this is their B team. This is actually their B team. Or they've gone, it's the FA Cup, we'll rotate, keep fresh for the league, boys, yeah? We've just been to the league in Man City. You've done well there, got a draw, but it's Man United. We can make some changes. And then I know you sometimes you don't see these things at the game and they just add insult to injury. They're probably not big things to anyone else. These are just things that I was taking in my rage. And then I looked to the away end. And if anyone, for guys who don't really go to games or have never been to an FA Cup game before, know how it works, the cup games is usually where there's a bigger allocation for the away fans. Yeah. Usually they get a whole stand or a top tier or an increased capacity in some way. I looked at the Brighton fans and I went, they've got a reduced section. There was green netting down the side for an even smaller away end, and they'd put more of our tickets that would usually be for the regular away end, and we went into it. Whether that's because Brighton don't sell out away ends, smaller club, smaller fan base, whether their demand wasn't there, so they said we only need this much tickets, whatever it was. There was only 3 away in the car park where we film. There's the away coaches away to my right, the left, as you guys look at me on the camera. And obviously, most teams, they're usually full, apart from maybe like Bournemouth, like smaller clubs and stuff. But they're full with coaches for the whole thing. There were 3 coaches, 3 away coaches. That shows you how little away fans came. And it just, I know this might not mean anything to any of you lot, but it angered me even more because I was like, they ain't even feel that. They're taking a piss out of us. They're taking an absolute piss out of us, mate. Do you know what I mean?
It was like in Burnley on Wednesday. They didn't. Turf Moor wasn't even sold
stuff
out.
Like that. You see stuff like that.
I mean,
it takes the piss out. Not even Man United coming to town and thinking we could do one over and then we get a point today. Nothing.
And that speaks volumes because even during our worst over the last few years, it's still when Man United come to town, everyone wants to see Man United play, don't they? Sell out the stadium. Yeah. Now it's I ain't fucking going watch Man United play. Yeah. Game just
even if they think their team's going to win or get points off us, they're like,
it's just it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll save my money for when,
and that shows you how
Liverpool
irrelevant we are.
Come to town. You know what I mean? I'll save my money for when they play Arsenal or something like that. Yeah, exactly. It's true, and it's just I don't know. Varunk says, I think Ineos should be given 3 to 5 years. Glazer's messed up the club so much that the management should be given more time. Mate, they've already had 2 years, and they've you know what we say about managers? Yeah, we'll go. We said about Ruben, you got to show me something. Show me something I can buy into. Show me something I can believe in. It's the same with ownership. I saw Terry Flewers said it last night. And I think, to be fair, I think it was big of him. He basically said, look, I was a fan of the Qatari takeover. That was my preference. But like with any new player or new transfer or what have you, I gave Ineos a chance, given them 2 years. And I can't do this anymore, basically. I can't, There's the idea of giving them benefit of the doubt, I think, went a long time ago.
Yeah, but you were allowed
a long
to do
time
that.
ago.
He's right. You've got to look at it and go, you know what I mean?
That thing of going, look, well, they've just come in through the door. There's mistakes going to be made. Well, mistakes have been made. And then critically now, mistakes have been repeated. So you're not learning your lesson anymore.
Exactly.
Everyone can sort of go, look, hey, your first couple of months in or first year in, you fumbled it a little bit. You get into grips with Man United fair. But now they're doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, so you're not learning, And actually now it really just feels like they've stopped caring about on pitch stuff or whatever. It's just they've just entered into self-preservation mode. They've then really now looking at the Glazer handbook of how to handle these things of like, oh, if you make mistakes, get an ex-player in, try and deflect a little bit, put out some briefings or some PR stuff about how the last coach was. He just went crazy. We were forced. He just went completely crazy, and he had nothing to do with the meltdown that he had and all this kind of stuff. It's completely out of the Glazer handbook, and it only took him 2 years to get there. And Freddie says, take the L, then we move on. Well, we take a lot of L's. I don't think, look, life is, we're going to move on. We'll move on to the Manchester Derby at the weekend. You don't think we're shitting bricks about that, on our own patch? I mean, just think how ugly that could be. Just honestly, just think how ugly that would be. And actually, this was something I mentioned during the game yesterday. If it was to be Ollie, and now it looks like it's going to be Carrick, I feel for whoever comes in as the interim because, back in 2018 when Ollie took over that team from Jose, that was a team the prior season that finished second and was in the Champions League. And, if they downed tools, but they weren't a bad, in terms of quality team. Whereas this is a Man United team was 15th last season, spent money on new attackers. But let's face it, we're shit. We're shit, and whoever comes in have got to deal with that. And then they've also got to deal with, the people above them telling them what to do and horribly running the club. And even though now Ineos have 6 months to get the next permanent manager right, I don't trust them for 6 months. To get anything right, I don't trust them at the end.
Not 6 months. I don't trust them for
exactly. I don't trust them. Don't trust them at all. Don't trust them at all. And again, my kind of concern is now because we haven't won in a while. When was the last time we won?
That's what I'm saying. The last time we won was.
And this
it already feels like ages ago. And even that, it's only 3. That's only 3 wins in 14 games or some shit like that.
Yeah, and this is my concern is that let's say we win a couple of games, right? And my worry is that because it's that bad, it's going to be utilized as an excuse of I'll keep Carrick because he won a couple of games because we're not winning any games at the moment as well. And I just think Ineos have been here, right? This is their second full season, right? Last season was their first full season, and this season is their second full season. 2 seasons in a row, basically they've written off. Do you know how mad that is? 2 out of 2. 2 out of 2. They've written off. And shout out to those Nice fans who, when Ineos were involved in the, bidding for Manchester United, they said, look, these guys cannot run a football club, You know, I know we're little old Nice, and you might not pay too much attention to us because we're too blinded by we're Manchester United. You know, they're not going to do what they did to Nice. You know, it's different. They probably weren't even that interested in Nice because they're in France. They're a Ligue 1 club. This is Manchester United we're talking about. And they're exactly right. They've done exactly the same. They've just, you know, hired and fired, made mistakes. The fans don't like them, and constantly making errors. And you know, and we didn't listen. You know, we just thought, wow, we're Man United, and they're
We've
not the
won
Glazers.
5
So it's
out
got
of
to
the
be better
last
than
15
something.
games. 5. So just from, again, I just chose a cut-off point from Liverpool onwards.
Exactly, Asher.
Liverpool, yeah. Liverpool beat Brighton 4-2, Palace 2-1, Wolves 4-1, and then 1-0 against Newcastle United. That's 5 in 15 games in all comps. Like, lock in. Like like he did say,
a long one.
Yeah, everyone agrees with that. That, you know, we've got the bed has been made. Got a lie in it. Like Show says, 5 in 15, but something was being built. And this is what you talk about revisionism. We won 5 out of the last 15. Well, to be fair, take off Fletcher's 2. So really, it's, you know, we won 5 in like 13. But
Asher, what's going on at United? Can you become interim? We're going to win any more games this season? Yes.
No. Yeah.
No.
Maybe.
Nothing. Yeah. Porfer? No.
Yeah.
No. Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Asher's got nothing for us. She's got
nothing left. She's got nothing left. It's fair. It's understandable.
And, you know, my God, what is Semenyo going to do to Diogo Dalot?
Oh, good God.
What's he going to do to him? Do you know what I mean? What's Haaland going to do to the team that just gives up goals, that Jaden Anthony can just come off the bench and put it top bins? Danny Welbeck can take the piss out of. Calvert-Lewin. Like, what's Haaland going to do to that? What's their midfield going to do to our non-existent midfield? What? Then we go to Arsenal straight after that. I mean, what are they going to do to us?
Asher, what do you think of Amarim getting sacked? What do you think? She said Ruben would have won.
She said Ruben, yeah. No treats for you.
Nothing.
No treats for you.
We're gonna fall out. We're gonna fall out.
Yeah. There you go, people.
Disgraceful.
There you go. Absolutely disgraceful. Red carpet later on. Is there any more super chats that we do? Did we read this last one, Charles?
I did not.
The biggest, Charles says, the biggest thing Man United fans need to grasp is that no manager will come in and get the best out of these players. This is these players' best. I do agree with that. Fred says, take the L, then we move on. Oh, we did read that one. So, yeah, guys, we'll probably, well, not probably, but as soon as we get announcements or here we go or whatever you want to call it, or Ornstein or whatever, club statement with the corner flag, whichever's first, we would, of course, bring it to you regarding Michael Carrick, who has gone from Ollie being the front runner and into now to Carrick. So we'll bring you that. We'll bring you that. And then, yeah, we'll be there for the red carpet as well. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of things to say on that. 2 poor results in the last couple of games. And we build up to the Manchester derby for what? What, for the players to give a good account of themselves and to this is the one day we can repay the fans with a big win at home. 75,000 people, show what it's like to be a Man United player. Yeah, right, mate. Pretenders, mate. Bunch of pretenders. We'll see you then, guys. We'll see you later on this evening. Have a good day. And we await this news for Carrick to break, and then we'll talk then. And then we will, give Carrick his, we'll talk about it properly in terms of what it means for Carrick. And because I get it. We can't just offer this of yeah, Carrick's a thing. I don't care. End the video. Smash a like. I get it. But at this moment, all we can do is be honest. Flex, you look pissed, as JW. Yes, I am. Extremely. There you go, guys. We're out of here. Peace.